What is an expired? Well, an expired is an expired listing. That means a seller had a property listed for sale, most likely with an agent, and it did not sell. Well, you may ask yourself, why would a house that is listed with a realtor not sell? Probably the most common reason, inaccurate pricing. The property was not priced properly when it was listed for sale. Now, there are a number of reasons for this. It could be that the seller's expectations were unrealistic. It could be that the agent did not understand the market or the nuances surrounding that property and did not price it accordingly. Now, we're talking about retail. So in the retail world, that means that it's an owner-occupant property, that the owner lives there. And they know the neighborhood, they know the neighbors, they know what's going on in the area. And in that instance, the owner often do not quite understand the value of the property, the actual value that the property can be sold for. So they rely on their agent, the professional, to help them come up with a number. Now, assuming the professional provided the right number, then something else happened. Something else went wrong. Now, if you move that same scenario to an investment property, where often the owner of the property doesn't live at that property, they don't know the neighborhoods as well. They have even a greater challenge at fully coming up with a value for the property. So there's a greater level of responsibility, or it's even more important in that situation that the agent that they hire understand the pricing, to accurately price that property. Because if they don't, that property will become an expired. I think it's very interesting because if you are an agent and you don't own investment properties, you don't understand the world of investing, how can you come up with the proper pricing for the listing? You have to understand that investors that are going to buy that property, what criteria they're looking for. What is it that they're looking to acquire from that property? How can you price the property in order to meet the demand from the buyers? If you don't understand how to run a pro forma for that property to evaluate the rate of return, which is generally what investors look for, they're looking for ROI. So if an investor spends $100,000 for a property, they're looking, hypothetically, in some instances, maybe they're looking for 10% return on investment. If the area is an area where investors are generally looking for 10% return, if you're selling a $100,000 property, then your buyer pool, the investors that are going to buy the property, are looking to make $10,000 net profit over a 12-month period for that investment. So if you're the agent and you're helping your client price that property and you understand the market, then you're going to price that property according to the expectation of the potential buyers. On the flip side, if you don't understand that, then you're not pricing that property accurately, and it's most likely not going to sell. Because if the investors are looking for 10% return, and when they flush out the numbers, it's spitting something about 5 or 6, few of them will buy it. So you're, in essence, wasting the seller's time by not being knowledgeable and understanding the nuances of the world of investing. And maybe you have a cheat code. You're just gonna Google and see what a pro forma is. And then you're gonna plug in these arbitrary numbers like 10% for maintenance, 10% for vacancies. The reality is, if you're an investor, if you've invested before, you should understand that those numbers are not arbitrary numbers. These numbers that you're plugging in into your pro forma to come up with the valuation of the property are based on the specific conditions and potential value add that the property may have. If you're a seller and you're looking to work with an agent, and your agent is not an investor that truly understands the world of investing, you're doing yourself a disservice. At the same time, if you are an agent and you don't understand investing, yeah, you would like to work with investors so they can buy and keep buying and keep selling with you, but you don't know how to evaluate the deal. You know you've never invested yourself. You have no intrinsic understanding of what it's like to balance profit, renovation, and purchase price on the flip, for example. You know that you have that knowledge because you have a fiduciary responsibility to your client. You are there to protect them and put their needs above yours. And if you know you lack the understanding, you should not take that listing. You should guide them to work with someone that can better help them. An expired is a property that if the agent was not able to help the seller sell the house.